Hey, what's up, guys? It's Jonathan here. So recently, the real estate market has been on a rocket ship to the moon, but there's a lot of fears that this rocket ship might be losing steam and that we may see some softening in the real estate market in the near future. So in this video, we'll discuss what caused the real estate market to shoot up so quickly, 3 things to look out for to indicate that we may have a correction up ahead, and my real estate strategy moving forward. So if this video provides you any value, consider hitting the like and subscribe button. Both these actions help out the channel tremendously with the YouTube algorithm. So let's get right into the video. Before we talk about the things that we should look out for if we have a market correction, let's first discuss how we got here in the first place. So at the beginning of the pandemic, there was a lot of fear on all sides of the real estate market, from lenders to buyers and even sellers as well. Lenders started to add more overlays to their loans. Basically what overlay is, it's a requirement that's added to the basic requirements for a certain type of loan. So for example, let's say that for an FHA loan, you need a 600 credit score minimum. An overlay may say that for FHA loans, you now need a 650 credit score. The reason why lenders started to do this is because there was fear that there may be an upcoming foreclosure crisis. So most lenders didn't want to loan to people unless if they're highly qualified. But these overlays made it much harder to qualify for a loan, make it harder for the average person to buy a home. And on the buyer side, people were hesitant to buy homes as most people thought that there would be a recession that would come out of this pandemic. And on the seller side, there was a lot of fear of having random people walking through your home during the height of a pandemic. A lot of sellers put off listing their homes for sale, which drove down the amount of inventory out on the market. But what actually ended up happening is that the foreclosure crisis never happened. The Federal Reserve and Congress came to rescue by cutting interest rates, introducing forbearance plans, and buying mortgage-backed securities. And the actions by the Federal Reserve and Congress caused lenders to loosen up on the overlays that they had added to these loans. At the same time, people who were working from home realized that they don't need to live close to their jobs anymore. They can actually move further away from work and get a much bigger home than they were getting in the past. So a lot of people who were living in bigger cities decided to move to the suburbs and buy bigger homes on larger plots. And then on top of that, supply chain restrictions made it much more costly for home builders to build new homes. So all these factors came together to cause the real estate market to soar by over 20% in just 1 year. Now, since we're up to speed to how we got to this point, let's now dive into the 3 things to watch out for to see if we may have a housing market correction in the future. The first thing to look out for is supply prices. And no, I'm not talking about beauty supplies. I'm talking about home building supplies like lumber, copper, concrete, and steel. And like we said earlier, a lot of supply chains became out of whack due to the supply chain restrictions that were caused by the pandemic. And with limited production and high demand, we saw the price of lumber and concrete shoot up over 300% year over year. And copper prices had doubled during the same time period. But recently we started to see the prices of these materials start to correct. And if we continue to see this downward trends, there's a good chance that home prices will most likely follow as well. But if we see the prices of these supplies go up, we may continue to see home prices move up as well. The second thing we should keep in mind if we're going to see a real estate crash or not is the like button. Yes, by not liking the smash button, you could see an instantaneous crash in the housing market. But in all seriousness, if this video has provided you any value, consider hitting the like button for the YouTube algorithm. It greatly helps out the channel. The actual second thing that we have to look out for is interest rates. And this is mostly due to the rule of 10x. And the rule of 10x states that for every 1% interest rates go up, home prices drop by 10%. And the reason for this is because most home buyers usually decide on what home they're going to buy based on their monthly payment instead of the price of the home. As interest rates move up, the principal payments have to move down to keep the monthly payment the same. And hence, home prices go down as well. Just recently, the Federal Reserve stated that they don't plan on raising interest rates until 2023. But if we do see inflation continue to rise, we may see the Fed change its stance on interest rates. It's also worth noting that the federal funds rate doesn't necessarily correlate with interest rates on mortgages. So mortgage rates could stay stable even if the Federal Reserve does decide to start hiking rates. And then the third thing that you have to look out for is inventory, and more specifically, sit-in inventory. So typically, if we see demand stabilize, but inventory increases, prices will usually fall, as sellers will have to compete for the limited amount of buyers on the market. And if we see something of this nature happen, it may cause a massive shift to the market. And for me to explain this completely, let's hop into my computer and look at some numbers. Okay, so we're going to take a look at the Redfin data center. We're going to look at the graph of the new listings. And this orange line you see here represents 2021. And this red line you see here represents 2020. And then the blue line represents 2019 and the gray line represents 2018. You probably noticed that 2018 and 2019 kind of look similar. They move up at the beginning of the year. They kind of peak around April and then they come back down. And then 2020, we had the pandemic start and immediately the amount of new listings plummeted. And this goes back to what I was talking about, that a lot of sellers were afraid to have people walk through their homes during the height of the pandemic. Then this curve slowly started to move up and then it started to follow the pattern of 2018 and 2019. So everything here looks pretty normal. It looks like we're kind of on track with how 2018 and 2019 pre-pandemic were going. But if we look now at pending sales, so we notice that there's actually an increase of pending sales between all of these other years and this year in 2021. But if you look at 2018 and 2019, we have this peak kind of again around April, and then it starts to move its way back down. And obviously, like I said, we had a lack of inventory right here. So that's what caused this little dip in 2020. But if you look now at 2021, you notice that the dip that we have here is a lot sharper than the dip that we had in 2018 and 2019. And these are pending sales. So these are homes that are about to close. We're starting to see a really sharp decline in pending sales. But now if we look at the new list and median price, it's actually still going up. So remember what I said, new listings are in line with 2018 and 2019. So we have about the same amount of inventory that's being introduced into the market. But the pending sales are starting to rapidly go down at a lot steeper of a rate than they did in 2018 and 2019. But now if we look at the median prices, they're still going up. This is pretty much what this is showing, that a lot of buyers are fed up with paying these really high prices for homes. So basically my conclusion of all of this is that we may start to see a decline in the new list and median price as the same amount of inventory is being brought onto the market, but there's less pending sales. And because of these graphs I showed you, I believe that we're gonna start seeing a correction in the real estate market. Not necessarily a crash, but a correction in prices. And now that brings me to what am I doing during this time? Well, before we get into it, I just wanna say that, as usual, none of this is financial advice. It's for entertainment purposes only. I'm just some guy on YouTube who's making videos in a non-air conditioned room, sweating my soul out trying to make this video. So if you're a first-time home buyer right now, I would actually still encourage you to continue looking on the market and continue trying to buy a home. And the reason why is because if you're buying a home that you plan to live in for the next 10, 20 years, most of this price action honestly won't matter in the long term. It's important that you get on the ride of home ownership as soon as possible and you start building equity. Also, another thing I want to note is that don't be afraid of paying over list price. I know a lot of people think that,
oh, if you're paying over list price, you're paying over market value.
That isn't necessarily the case. Sellers can list the property for whatever price that they like. What you want to make sure is that you're not setting a new high comp for the area. So for example, let's say you're buying a neighborhood where homes cost anywhere from $400,000 to $420,000, and you're in contract for a home for $450,000. That would be an example of you setting a high comp. And you don't want to be in that position. You definitely want to be in the range of the comps that you looked at. You don't want to be buying a home well above market value. That I will always tell you to stay away from, whether you're a first-time buyer or you're an investor. Now, if you're in my position where you're looking for a rental property, so for me personally, I would continue to look for deals, but I probably wouldn't pull the trigger until I found a really good deal, since I believe that in the near future, there may be better opportunities to buy real estate. Also for me, if I wanted to buy some real estate, I would probably have to liquidate some of my stocks. And right now, I'm very bullish on the stock market and the direction it's gonna move in the next 6 months. So I would much rather have my money placed in the stock market than the real estate market right now. So I'd like to thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please hit the like button for your YouTube algorithm. It greatly helps out the channel, helps push this video out to as many people as possible. If you enjoy my perspectives and way I explain things, consider hitting the subscribe button and notification bell so you get notified anytime I post a new video. Also, I'd like to hear from you guys. What do you guys think about the real estate market right now? Let me know in the comment section down below. I would love to hear from you guys. Also, follow me on all my social medias. I try to post there every day. And thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.